You're actually lucky because I think I found the cure to procrastination, and in this video, that's what I'm going to share with you. The thing I really want you to understand is that discipline should be easy. Now I know it sounds counterproductive, right? I mean, if we look at the very definition of discipline, it means the practice of training people to obey rules or a code of behavior using punishment to correct disobedience. Now that's a pretty old definition of discipline, because nowadays when we think of discipline, I mean, me personally, I don't think there's a punishment coming if I don't do my action. Like, this is in the military. We want to be disciplined so we can reach our goals. And something I've noticed is that in life, the ease of completing a task or of doing something, it mostly comes down to how you frame it, how you view it. It's like maybe you've heard people say, I have to exercise. And so, of course, it seems like it's going to be daunting. No one wants to exercise if they're forced to. However, people try to reframe it and say, I get to exercise. Because instead of looking at the negative, having to force yourself into physical exhaustion, now you're thinking, wait, I've got 2 arms, 2 legs, my body works completely fine. I can exercise, I get to do it, it's fun. The same thing is true with work. If you've done any research on discipline or you've read books on discipline, you've probably come across guys like Jocko Willink or David Goggins, these kinds of guys. And they look like they're the epitome of discipline. You know, they wake up super early, like 4 a.m., they work out, they're huge, they run these successful businesses, and you wonder, how do they do it? Do they have something that I don't? I wondered that for a long time too. And the truth is, no, they don't have something that you don't. They just understand something that you don't. They frame being disciplined in a different way than you do. Whereas you see discipline as pain, they see discipline as freedom. I mean, he literally wrote a book called Discipline Equals Freedom. I can tell you for a fact, the times in my life I've been the happiest, it was also when I was the most disciplined. When I was waking up at 5 a.m., doing some deep work, then going to the gym. That's when I was having the time of my life. Why? Because I felt like I was making progress, and I was proud of myself for sticking to my own promises. I have to share a funny anecdote with you. Back when I was still in school, I never did my homework. Now raise your hand if that's what you were doing too, like you were just pretending to do your homework, but then you would show up to school and you just didn't do anything. And when the teacher would come, like they would walk in the ranks and try to check if we did our homework, I would just fucking hide my book and pretend that what I wrote the day before was my homework. And sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't. But some teachers knew, like, I just didn't give a shit about school and they just left me alone because I was getting decent grades anyway. But the point I'm trying to make here is discipline is always going to feel hard for you until you have a very strong reason why you're doing the work that you're trying to do. Like, for example, when I was in school, I almost never did my homework, especially if it was math, because I hated the math that they were teaching us. I love mathematics when it comes to making money, calculating how to save on taxes, that kind of stuff, because it heavily benefits me directly. However, when it came to calculating the square foot of something or the fucking triangles, or I don't even remember any of that, to be honest, because I didn't give a shit. What was the point of knowing the square foot or the root of this and that and doing all these crazy calculations that I would never ever use again in my life outside of just reciting a bunch of bullshit for an exam and getting a good grade? What was the point? It was just a waste of time. So in the same manner that I never did my homework because I didn't have a strong enough reason to do my homework, it was just a pain in the ass with no positive outcome for me, then unless you have a very strong reason why you're going to do the work, why you're going to study for an exam, why you're going to work on your business, you're not going to do it. So it's not that you lack willpower or that you're flawed. It's simply that human beings don't do things that are not going to benefit them. That's just being smart. And if now you're thinking, yeah, okay, but I mean, I know that if I work on my business, I'll make more money, I'll be able to quit my job, I'll be able to reach financial freedom, so I have a strong reason to do the work. So how come I'm still not doing it? Well, that's because you still view discipline as a loss of your freedom instead of seeing discipline as what leads to your freedom. Like, let's take 2 scenarios. The first guy, he follows a very tight, disciplined schedule, okay? And then the second guy, he doesn't. He's all over the place. One day he might wake up at 8 a.m, the next day he wakes up at 5 because he finally wants to change his life, but then the next day his friends invite him to parties, so he goes to the club, he stays late, he drinks heavily, and so the day after that he wakes up at noon with no motivation to do any work, and he thinks, oh, it's the weekend, I'll just take it easy and I'll start back on Monday. I'm sure you know people like that. Hey, maybe that's you. While the other guy, let's call him Steve, he just knows what he wants and he's gonna try to do something to get closer to his goal every single day. So at first, he's not like this super disciplined warrior who gets up at 5 a.m. No, he might be getting up at 9 a.m. And then he starts to do a task for his work, like a task to move the needle on his business to start making more money. Maybe he makes one piece of content. That's it. And then the rest of the day he takes it easy. Maybe he goes for a workout and then he spends time with his family. He's starting small. And guess what? Over the course of a month, that guy, he will have made more progress than the guy who is trying to do everything perfectly right from the start without success. And one guy is going to get the definition that discipline is hard, being disciplined sucks, because he's trying to do way too much from the start, while the other guy will think, hey, being disciplined is easy, because before he realizes it, he's no longer relying on sheer willpower to get things done. Instead, he has a routine, habits, and that makes it easy. Like, discipline is supposed to be easy. It's only hard when you try to do it the wrong way, when you try to go from couch potato to goddamn Navy SEAL. And especially overnight. So the first thing you need to do is to really reframe your mindset around discipline. Discipline is easy. It's not supposed to be hard. Because what you believe, you make it come true. Some people think that if you make money, you're a bad person, or they manifest that in their reality. That's why they're still broke. That's why they struggle. That's why they live paycheck to paycheck, because they think they have to do nasty shit to become rich. Well, no, you don't, first of all. These people don't understand how money works. Money follows value. The more value you bring to other people, the richer you are going to be. That's how it works. You don't make money just for no reason. People are not going to pay you for no reason. Unless you're trying to like scam people out of their money. Like you say, oh, I'm going to sell you fucking Pokemon cards or whatever. And then people pay you and they never receive the product. Yeah, that's a scam. But that's not how you get rich. You get rich by providing massive value to people. People like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs. How did they get so rich? They created something insane that literally billions of people use. Like right now, you're probably on a Microsoft device, an Android device, or an Apple device. Am I wrong? Well, thanks to these people who invented these things, nowadays everyone pretty much has a computer, even in third world countries. Whereas, the first computers, they looked horrible. Like, look at the first computers. That's what they looked like. They were these big, giant machines. Well, you couldn't have that in your house. And it was so damn expensive, nobody could have it, except the super, super rich people. Nowadays, thanks to people like, again, Steve Jobs, thanks to people like Bill Gates, pretty much everyone has a computer. So people who became extremely rich provided massive value to the world. So just like in the same way that brokies need to reframe their mindset in terms of making money is stealing or it's a scam, no, making money is helping people. You don't get rich unless you bring massive value. Really get this through your head. Well, discipline is easy. It is supposed to be. The other thing that I found really cures procrastination is tracking your time. So, as you can see, like that's a pretty heavy calendar. And if we zoom in, it's a fake calendar. It says shower, shopping, reading, breakfast, play, and then play, and then play. But my point is, time tracking is awesome. I've been doing this for years now. I have my routine, so every single day I track what I'm doing. So for example, my favorite routine out of all the routines I've tried, it's getting up. Well, I'm going to try to draw it better. My favorite routine out of all the routines I've tried is 5 a.m. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to work until, on average, 8 a.m. Then I can have breakfast. Then I'm going to work until 10:30. Then I'm going to go to the gym. At 12, I'm going to have my lunch. And then I'm going to work from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. work. That is my favorite productivity routine. Now, if you want to cure procrastination, you're sick and tired, you really want to change your life, you have to start small. If you try to go too hardcore from the start, you try to go from being a couch potato to working out like for 3 hours a day and working 12 hours a day and getting up at 5, you are going to fail. Trust me, I tried this for years. Instead, if I had been smarter, I would have realized it's better to start small, do something to reach my goals instead of just try to do everything perfect, but then I could only stick to my hardcore schedule for like just a couple days, and then I would fall back into old destructive habits. And as you can see on this image, you only have a limited amount of energy every single day. So if you use all your energy to go in the direction of your goal, you reach your goal much sooner than if you pour your energy into 10 different small things, because your goal is here, but you're so damn far away from it. That's what most people do. They can't focus on one thing. And like, for example, they want to make more money, but instead they're going to focus on implementing all of these weird habits like meditating, cold showers, etc., instead of just working on the damn business and reaching their goal so much quicker. But they won't pour so much energy into things that don't fucking matter. Like they know that they need to make content to grow their business, to sell more courses, more programs, but they're going to tweak their logo, look at different strategies, and try to look at this advertising platform and this advertising platform. Focus on one fucking thing and start small. Because what I really want you to understand is successful people, they don't have more willpower than you. They're no different than you are. They just like stuck with it long enough to see results. Because you've got to realize this one thing. When you get started in anything, no matter if you end up becoming a successful person or if you don't, you never have the guarantee of success in the first place. Like once it was pretty funny because somebody reached out to me. They were like, how much money do you guarantee to make me? How much money do you promise to make me? And I mean, I just gave the guy a raw reality check. Like, bro, how much do I promise to make you? I don't promise to make you anything. What do you think? You think I'm gonna like build your business for you, hand it to you, and that's it? Like, that's how it's gonna work? You've got to be coachable. You've got to learn what you need to build a successful business. No one's gonna fucking hand it to you on a silver platter. And just because I teach you my strategies, I can't guarantee you're gonna do jack shit with them. Most people give up after 1 week, and that's in any area of life. Most people don't look great. A ton of people are overweight nowadays. Why? Because most people give up after 1 fucking week. Your success or lack thereof is your responsibility. That's something you really need to understand. No one is coming to fucking save you, bro. And look at these guys, like, do you think that's a sad man? He loves what he's doing. And so discipline is easy. Even people like David Goggins, like what they're doing is pretty hardcore. He went from being this extremely overweight person who had a shitty life, like he was spraying cockroaches for work. That's what he was doing. And he hated it. You can see on his face, like, there's no life. To now being this extremely disciplined, extremely like tough motherfucker. He likes to think of himself as like the toughest motherfucker in the world. And I think he probably is. I mean, the dude ran fucking ultra marathons with broken legs. Like, that is insane. It goes against even medical advice. And the reason he does this is because he loves it. Discipline is easy. Easy doesn't mean there's no effort, there's no pain. Because regardless of what you choose to do in life, there's gonna be pain. Like when you watch Netflix all day or you play video games all day and you've got big goals inside you, you feel pain at the end of the day. Because you know you could have done so much more. You could have achieved so much more. But for some reason you didn't. So regardless of what you choose to do, you will feel pain. When you can't be disciplined, what you don't understand is, stop running away from the pain. You can't run away from the pain. However, what you can do is choose which pain you're willing to suffer for. Do you want to suffer the pain of regret? Or do you want to suffer the pain of just trying to implement new habits and getting started and facing rejection in your business and things like that? What pain is more worth it to you? Because I can promise you, soon enough you will be on your deathbed and you'll look back at your life. Is it going to be something you're proud of? Will you be proud of the person you became? Or will you hate yourself and be miserable because you know you could have done so much more, but you didn't for some reason because you were afraid? So it's up to you. But discipline is easy. Now, if you want me to teach you how I've literally made thousands of dollars per day with my online business selling online courses and passive high-ticket programs, check out the links in the description below. If you click on the first link, you can apply for a free one-to-one consultation call with me. If we're a good fit, you might get the chance to join my premium mentorship program where I'm going to share with you my most advanced strategies to make money online. So check the link in the description below. We only have a few more spots as I'm speaking, and I don't know for how long it's going to be available. So check it out, and with that said, I'll see you on the other side.